features the Pleasant Grove Vikings and the American Fork Cavemen in their second game of the 2 games they always face each other in every season. In the first one, Pleasant Grove fell 69-56 in the Cave. Jack, what have you seen from Pleasant Grove in terms of growth in between the last time these 2 teams faced off and today?
Just a realization of everybody's purpose on this team, truly. I feel like as far as the team that we saw in Georgia and before Georgia, that was a lot of just kind of preparing for what region play would bring them. And it ultimately turned out that they would lose a lot in the year 2024 and that they are struggling a little bit. But I think that a lot of players are really molding into what player they have to be on the court. If they're a facilitator, shooter, I think that if they don't win tonight, some players and some fans might start to doubt the way that it's going right now.
Yeah, I'm just going to encourage everyone that no matter how tonight turns out, that this is the system. This is the way that Pleasant Grove needs to play, and not to give up no matter what the outcome is tonight. Obviously, we don't know the outcome. We haven't read the script yet, but we'll do that in a couple minutes. But like, this is the system for this team. This is not a team full of 6'6" guys. I was talking to McAllister outside of the locker room after the last game that these 2 teams had, and I asked him that question. I said, "Is this still the system?" And he told me that this is the system for this team. And one of the questions he asked me was to come up with a system that would work better. And I, got about 30 seconds, and then I've had a couple days since then and haven't come up with anything. But I think a big thing that has really changed for this team since the last time they played is the hair game for a lot of these guys. Ryan Hadley cut his hair. Chaz Rose shaved his head. And
Riker Mickelson's rocking a mustache.
Riker Mickelson's got the mustache. So it's a lot of different choices.
Maybe the hair game is what's ultimately going to change up this team. Change up how they play.
Yeah, we'll see if it changes anything today from the last time these 2 teams faced off. And, as was the story a couple times at the beginning of region play for this Vikings team, is they would lose games by a lot more than, they really lost by. This was when the first time these 2 teams faced off, Vikings did not lose by 13. They were down by 6 or 7 throughout the entire game, and then having to play aggressive late caused American Fork to, hit a lot more free throws and, do a lot more in that department. So that's where the score got pushed to 13. So it'll be interesting to see if in this game, even if Pleasant Grove is still in that 6 to 7 point deficit range, whether or not they can, hit some clutch threes towards the end of the game and hit some free throws that give them, push them closer instead of moving the deficit bigger.
Yeah, ultimately, I think this game will boil down to who can win the first half. I think that will either bring the Vikings out as a dominant force in this game to shut down Tiger Cuff and Jared Shepard, Jared Shepard went off last game against Pleasant Grove. And that is a huge factor. Like, can they stop him? Can they stop Tiger Cuff?
Yeah, as you talked about, winning at halftime, these teams are combined 19-3 in games where they lead at halftime. So the team that is up at halftime has a huge leg up over the opponent. And then just to, go along with what you said exactly about Jared Shepard, he's American Fork's leading scorer, 16.4 points per game. Last time out, as you mentioned, 19 points against Pleasant Grove, and then 4 3-pointers made. So he was effective from beyond the arc, and that was in turn because Pleasant Grove did not have crisp rotations and kind of left him wide open beyond the arc early in that one, and he racked up some numbers.
Yeah, so I think that ultimately this is going to be a kind of season-defining game, to be honest, where they're going to fit inside the tournament. Can they beat these tough region opponents in the playoffs? Can they beat the ultimate #1 Corner Canyon and Alta? We'll see.
So talking about Corner Canyon, Pleasant Grove's currently 13th in the RPI rankings. If the season ended today before this game, Corner Canyon is exactly who Pleasant Grove would go face in the first round. So a lot of, there are so many good teams in 6A. Pleasant Grove's kind of either going to get to go face Layton, go face Corner Canyon, maybe face American Fork for a third time, Lehigh, a lot of really, really, really good teams at the top of 6A. And if Pleasant Grove continues to lose, you know, you only fall farther down that RPI ladder, and that's not at all what you want to do with how tough 6A is. But really, any first-round opponent you get is going to be a really tough game.
Yeah, ultimately, it's going to come down to, I mean, looking at American Fork, it seems like every other year they're in the championship game. Last year, fell in the championship game to Corner Canyon, who also is just always in the semifinals or finals. Of course, our last best year was 2022, making it to the semifinals, losing to American Fork at Weber. Sorry, I forgot if we played in the University of Utah or in Weber. And they, ultimately, it was a tough way to end the season. The only player that played on that varsity team, only one player that played there is playing now, and that's Riker Mickelson.
Yeah,
Riker was a freshman, and he's only a junior right now.
And Pleasant Grove historically has actually been pretty evenly matched with this American Fork team. Since 2004, so as far as Max Preps dates back, Pleasant Grove is 22-18 against American Fork. The issue for them is they're on a 5-game losing streak. Haven't defeated American Fork since 2022 when they won in American Fork. They haven't won here in Valhalla since 2021. But let's talk about American Fork a little bit. We talked about Jared Shepard, but it's not just exceptional forward play for this team. It's exceptional guard play as well.
Yeah. So I think that, their guard play, I mean, Justin Shepard, he's one of their guards. Jared Shepard.
Yeah.
Justin Thorpe is one of their other players. He went off. He hit so many three-pointers against Pleasant Grove last matchup. So it's really going to be tough. Both student sections showing up tonight. Not as many for American Fork. Kind of to be expected, though. Away games are tough. And Pleasant Grove hasn't quite gotten over the hump of filling their student section quite like Lone Peak did.
Yeah,
I mean, that's something impressive is Lone Peak has filled both our away stands and their home stands when we've played them both times.
And just to go back a little bit, you talked about Justin Thorpe. He did not play in American Fork's last game against Lehigh, as well as Jake Mulholland didn't play. Those two combined for 13 points and 4 3-pointers the first time these two teams faced off. We'll monitor their status as we get closer to game time. Every American Fork player still's got a shirt over their jersey, so we're not 100% sure who is who. But we'll see if they do play. There are a couple cavemen who are in hoodies and sweats around half court. But those are some big guys for American Fork, and if they are out, maybe Pleasant Grove catches a little bit of a break, because Thorpe and Mulholland, those are both, I mean, Thorpe is 6'7", Mulholland is a really, really good guard, kind of the 6th man off the bench for American Fork. So we'll see their status today. For Pleasant Grove, you know, I'm going to knock on wood right now, but pretty clean bill of health so far throughout the season. Ryan Hadley had that thumb injury early, but he's back and playing, and Pleasant Grove hasn't really dealt with an injury yet so far, which is impressive with how much they just go, go, go.
Yeah, it's tough. PG's team last year suffered a few different injuries, such as Michael Minton getting injured within the first few weeks of the season and missing a lot, only coming back near the end of region play. And then, of course, Austin Simon, who hurt his knee against Westlake last year. And, yeah, so hasn't been too much of that.
Yeah, the big one, I think, last year was Mackay. I think it was Mackay Peterson. Maybe it was Riker Mickelson. It was Riker.
I don't think he tore his ACL, but he did.
I think it was his Achilles. I get told something else every time.
Yeah, it's a different story. It's a different reason, and it's a different thing that happens.
But he did not play for most of the season. Did not touch the court during region play. So with 2:40 remaining, Jack, this is a big one. Pleasant Grove 1-5 in region play so far this season. As you mentioned, this could be a season-defining victory or loss. This is a team that would love a win here. American Fork 4-2 in region play. Only losses coming to Lehigh both times they played them, and those were both off Cooper Lewis masterclass performances, 47 and 37 points respectively. So it's going to be interesting to see which team walks out of this building. They have identical records on the season, both 11-8. Jack, without necessarily picking a winner, what do you think both of these teams have to do to take a victory today?
I think that PG has I say it every time. They got to play their system to a T, and they got to hit their three-pointers early. They cannot go cold and let American Fort go on like a 10-0 run in the second quarter or in the first quarter. And I think that just showing up early and being able to full court press, maybe steal some passes, like steal some dribbles even, like that could be huge for how this game could go. And making that presence in the first half and then coming back second half, performing in our third quarter, and then trying to show up in the fourth quarter, which is one of Pleasant Grove's big problems this season. So
yeah, we kind of saw them do it for one of the first times last time out against Lone Peak. Of course, they didn't end up being able to pull through, but kept the game interesting until the clock literally hit zeros. So a lot of improvement in the fourth quarter we saw last time. But what does American Fort need to do to come out of here with a victory?
Just give it to Tiger Cuff and some of their other tough players, and just trust how they've been playing. So, yeah. You said Mulford's out today?
Mulford is playing. Thorpe and Mulholland did not play their last time out against Lehigh. We don't know their status. It looks like American Fort's got a full team based off what we saw during warm-ups, but we'll see once players kind of take their warm-up shirts off and we see who's got jerseys on.
You know, Riker Mickelson's mustache, I saw him today walking down the hall, said hi to him. I swear he didn't have that mustache. He grew it between school and this game.
Maybe it's fake. I think he might be trying to intimidate American Fort.
That versatility of growing a mustache like that.
It's thick, too. It's not.
It's like a prevalent mustache. Like, it is there.
Yeah.
Kind of hilarious. I like it.
I support it. But we will be back with basketball after the national anthem and player introductions. Don't go anywhere. We're almost here for basketball.
Just cook your popcorn right now. Oh,
Starting for American Fork, number 1, Tiger Cuff. Diego Mulford pairs with him in the backcourt, along with Reese Dent, Jared Shepard, and Blake Rawson. So Justin Thorpe leaving a hole in that American Fork starting lineup from what Pleasant Grove saw the last time out. American Fork is coached by Ryan Cuff, who is coaching his first game back after serving a 3-game suspension. For Pleasant Grove, starting number 2, Carson Rasmussen. Every guy's kind of in the backcourt with him, but Makai Peterson at guard. Ty Palmer and Andrew Anderson also on the floor. We haven't seen Ty Palmer and Carson Rasmussen share the floor very much. And then, of course, finishing out the starting 5 with Carson Rasmussen's vice president, kind of running mate, if you will, the mustache man, Riker Mickelson. So, taking the jump for American Fork is Blake Rawson. It's time for basketball. Jack, take us away.
and Makai doesn't even jump for the tip-off because he was going to lose it anyway, to be honest. So Tiger Cuff going to bring it down for the Cavemen. Gives it up top to Mulford. This is Reese Dent. Now, Tiger Cuff to Mulford. Mulford out. This is Jared Shepard. Inside, that's Cuff down low.
That's Rawson, just a big body down there. Kind of hard to guard when Pleasant Grove doesn't have anybody who's, 6'5" or taller.
Shepard's layup is good. Take a quick 4-0 lead with 40 seconds played in this first quarter.
Yeah, that was just a mistake by Rasmussen. Just didn't get it off his hands fast enough. It got stolen. Good defensive play, and then a good way to finish. Anderson from the corner.
No good. So Makai's going to toss back out for Ty. 3. Oh, just barely rolls around, but Anderson tips it back in.
Pleasant Grove loves their offensive rebounds, and they had 2 of them on that possession.
PG student section really filled out in these last few minutes here. So here's Tiger Cuff. Now to Reese. Reese up to Shepard. Now to Tiger Cuff. Down low. Shepard. Layup. No good. Shepard gets the rebound. He's going to kick it out. This is Mulford. Mulford now to Rawson. Down low. Kicks it out. Still 24 seconds on the shot clock. That is a long shot clock as Mulford hits that mid-range jumper.
That was silky smooth.
It was a good-looking shot. As Anderson gives to Carson up top. Carson gives a Ty. Another quick 3 from Ty. Left side of the rim, and another miss from Pleasant Grove from 3.
Ty Palmer starting 0 for 2, but with 2 good looks so far. Coach McAllister's totally okay if he keeps pulling that trigger.
Rawson is blocked from behind by Peterson, but then he catches the rebound and puts it up.
So 8-2, quick.
Inside to Peterson, now to Palmer. Palmer, a third 3, he hits it!
Like I said, you got those open looks, you keep taking them. Pleasant Grove's so good from beyond the arc, they're gonna start falling, and that's all that Pleasant Grove needs.
This is Reese Dent, drives in, oh my goodness, he really got up there. He almost could have dunked it. Now to Andrew, open for 3, he's gonna take it, hits it!
Even if American Fork gets 2 on the other end, Pleasant Grove's 3 gets them but 1 point closer, and that's kind of the basis of their game plan. 2-point game after a quick start by American Fork.
Here's Tiger Cuff. Gives it to Shepard. Now back to Cuff. On the elbow, Mulford up to Cuff. Now to Shepard. Nice ball movement by American Fork. Rawson back to Shepard. Now down low to Mulford. Now inside. Cuff. Reverse layup. He's fouled.
I believe that's going to go against Makai Peterson down low, and it does. Pleasant Grove's only got 2 guys ready to check in, unless they're hiding behind me, and I don't think they are. It's going to be Hadley and Hilliard. We'll check in after this first free throw. It's going to be 2 from Cuff. So good from the line.
Unusual to see Ty Palmer take so many 3-pointers. I feel like we didn't see Ty Palmer take too many in here in the beginning, as Cuff's first is going to hit.
Anderson and Peterson check out. Hilliard and Hadley check in.
So Anderson, one of the people with a 3 already. That is him and Ty Palmer.
So this is a set that we usually see Pleasant Grove run, but it's still unusual, or it's closer to a set that we usually see him run as Cuff hits his second. But we're still not used to seeing Rasmussen and Palmer share the court at the same time.
Mulford giving Rasmussen the stuff as he cannot get past the half-court line. Rasmussen up top, trying to get past Mulford. Now a three by Hadley off the back of the rim, and Riker Mickelson cannot come back with it. So Tiger Cuff gonna bring it down the court. Cuff drives in, kicks it out for three. That's Reese. No good. Ty Palmer almost ends up with it over Rawson. That is a tough person to try and rebound over. Oh my goodness, Ryan Hadley with the tip in after the miss.
2-point ball game once again here as Mulford's kind of been matched up on Rasmussen one-on-one this entire game, and that's something I expect to see continue.
That's inside. They're calling a blocking foul.
And Pleasant Grove's coaching staff is not happy with that call, looking for the charge call.
So Riker ends up with one as Reese tries to drive in, and he's going to the line. So not something that Pleasant Grove wants to do. It's against their philosophy to foul and give their players time to rest.
Kind of the weirder thing that we're not used to is it's against their philosophy to get fouled too. They don't want to send guys to the line because it gives the other team an opportunity to rest.
They're also subbing single guys out.
Yeah, they're still subbing a lot, but
as Riker Mickelson's going to take his first seat on the bench.
So we still have yet to see Milo Johansson or Jackson Brown in this one. But we've seen 8 other guys. Reese Dent looking to extend the lead to 4, and he does. He goes 2 for 2 from the line. Cavemen haven't missed.
So
have 4
Palmer
attempts.
Gonna bring it down, gives it to Hadley. Hadley drives in left side, right hand, reverse layup, good. My goodness, right in front of the AF crowd.
I think AF is running a jersey night tonight, and Pleasant Grove's got a neon out.
Jersey night, you know, it makes sense, but sometimes it just looks a bit disorganized. Although neon out, not everybody.
As there's a steal by Peterson.
Sorry, I just kind of rambled.
Oh, and he just misses Hadley as he was looking for a fiery pass. Just couldn't get it to land. And now we do see Justin Thorpe check in. So he's not hurt. Just kind of checking into the second rotation instead of starting like we saw him last time against Pleasant Grove. Jax Clark is also on the court. As I believe missing is Blake Rawson. I believe he came in for Blake Rawson.
Here is Shepard, gives Jax Clark. Gives it to Mulholland, now down low. Back to Clark, layup, no good, caught by Tiger Cuff. Tiger gets out, gives it back up top to Shepard, now in the corner. Kind of a circus pass, and Clay Hansen has it. Gonna go the length of the court, it's tipped out, and they're gonna call it.
It's Pleasant Grove basketball. Hansen did a good job. He had one guy going down the court right with him. Hansen did a good job of keeping him on the back hip, not letting him get a good read at the ball. He ultimately poked it out, but didn't have a chance to recover it himself, and it's going to stay Pleasant Grove basketball as we see Emmett Red check in for Tiger Cuff.
Yeah, so both of the players that Allen suspected would be out are playing right now. Hilliard, spin move in the paint, left hand layup, good!
Pleasant Grove is not a team that likes to take layups. They took 6, players counted 6 bad ones against Lone Peak. They've taken some good ones today.
Inside, back out. This is Shepard.
20 on the shot clock, still plenty of time.
Shepard on the inside to Thorpe. Back out to Mulholland for 3, good. And you cannot let Mulholland shoot that if you are Pleasant Grove.
Yeah, he went 2 for 3 last time these two teams faced off. Scored every single one of his points from beyond the arc.
Ryan Hadley said he traveled as he gives the pass to Hilliard on the outside.
We're going to see Andrew Anderson and Carson Rasmussen check in as Hadley and Palmer check out.
So we're not seeing any subs of 5 right now, but we have seen plenty of substitutions happen.
I think Jackson Brown and Milo Johansson have done nothing to be taken out of the rotation. I wonder if it's just matchup-wise that McAllister thinks these are his 8 best guys to face off against American Forks best 6 or 7. I wonder if we'll see Brown or Johansson check in at any point in this first quarter. There's about 2 minutes left in it.
This is Mulholland, gives it on the inside. That's Xander Hale. His shot is no good, it's gonna go out of bounds.
And a whistle's blown on Xander Hale. a pushing foul, and that's his first. American Forks first of the quarter. Pleasant Grove only with 2 fouls so far, so pretty clean game so far between these two teams, and the Vikings are down 3 with the ball.
Here's Clay Hansen, gives to Andrew. Rotations around the 3-point line, gives it down low to Carson. Clay ends up with a Hilliard quick 3. He hits it.
Pleasant Grove matches the score with just some, I was going to say great ball movement. Kind of got a little lucky with the ball getting tipped right to one of their own players.
Clay Hansen's attempt to block Xander Hale are no good.
Yeah, the 6'8" Xander Hale. Rasmussen drives, lays it up and in.
Oh my goodness, what a pretty layup by Rasmussen.
Just beats him off the line on the right elbow. Just does a great job of being confident, taking it to the rack, and never questioning his decision.
That's reminiscent of his sophomore year. Lots of driving in, and he was fearless, and he still is, as Riker Mickelsen's going to check in here.
That drive is going to prompt Diego Mulford checking in for the Cavemen next time they get a chance.
Inside, that was Emmett Red. Going to bring the score to 21-19, as your scoreboard on your stream is wrong. And that's Anderson for 3 off the front of the rim.
Hansen, we'll see if they call a foul. They do call a foul. So the second of the quarter for the Cavemen. It goes against Jake Mulholland. And we see Rawson and Mulford check in. And we also see Jared Shepard check in as well. And it's Pleasant Grove basketball.
Here's Makai Peterson, gives it to Hilliard. Hilliard drives in, kicks it out. Mickelsen ends up with it. Not a pass they want, though. As Rasmussen trying to reset the play. They still got 20 seconds on the shot clock. They can do stuff. You know, kind of a lot of chaos here. It's kind of even hard to tell. Here's Rasmussen on the outside, drives in, kicks it out to Hilliard.
10
Hilliard
on the
in the corner.
Now.
Yeah, now they got 10. Here's Riker. Riker drives in, spin move, amazing footwork, and they're going to call a foul.
Blake Rawson is not at all happy about that call. Ref is going to say Rawson hit the wrist of Mickelsen as he was going up. That's going to send Mickelsen to the line for 2. Riker was kind of the player that got fouled a lot late in that Lone Peak game. He finished the game 3 for 5 from the line as Pleasant Grove as a team shot very poorly. As I'll continue in just a second. He misses his first. Pleasant Grove shot 39% from the free throw line. So they shot 2% worse from 3 than they did from the free throw line when these two teams met up. And Jackson Brown has now checked in for the first time today.
So here's Riker's second, and it's good.
And that's going to bring Clay Hansen in the ball game. That's a thick mustache.
It really is. I'm enjoying the mustache. More mustache content coming to you at halftime.
Here's Tiger
really, I'm
Cuff.
just kind of messing with you.
Here's Tiger Cuff in the Caveman offense.
Here's Mulford, gives to Shepard. Back up to Cuff. Now Cuff in the corner just kicks it back to Shepard immediately. Not really sure what to do. It's like a hot potato. They're just passing it back and forth.
3 on the shot clock.
My goodness. Just got absolutely rejected, but Tiger Cuff draws the foul.
Goes against Clay Hansen.
Referee kind of blocked my view of the shot.
I couldn't tell you whether it was clean or not. I had some black and white stripes in my field of vision as well. But it's going to send Cuff to the line for 2. He's so good from the charity stripe. Talked about that just a little earlier, but he has been working on that free throw shot for so long as he makes his first. There's a video I found on YouTube as I just looked up Tiger Cuff. It's a video of him in 2020, so his freshman year. He looks like he could be 10 years old, but it's just a video of him at the free throw line just knocking them down one after another. He's been working on that shot and perfecting it for so long. It's rare to see him miss, as we don't hear.
Is good. Substitutions for American Fork as Mulholland comes in, and so does Emmett Red.
Pleasant Grove's got 1.4 seconds to try and get a shot off.
Hilliard just launches it with no fruition. Not sure why they defended it so hard, but you know, that's just how it goes.
So 23-20 after 1 quarter. Pretty evenly matched so far. Pleasant Grove's done a good job answering 2s with 3s, and American Fork's done a good job of kind of keeping Pleasant Grove just at arm's length. Just not as far as they kept them the first time these two teams met up. Obviously, we've only watched a quarter play so far, but Jack, what stuck out to you?
I just think that Pleasant Grove really matching up their energy and just trying to stay within the game. I mean, they're only down 3 right now. That's one score to tie it. So that's huge. As Pleasant Grove going ahead into the second quarter, and they're going to try to, you know, just keep matching their energy, keep hitting threes at the same percentage that they are, and, you know, maybe Riker Mickelson's mustache will give him some powers, as I think he can start driving in, get some crazy points down low. I mean, he already had his great footwork, and he got fouled by Xander Hale down low.
Yeah, it's not easy to not get whistled for a travel in those situations, but a great job by Mickelson to keep 1 foot on the boards. And ultimately, he got his 2 shots. He only went 1 for 2 from beyond the line, but still a 3-point game for Pleasant Grove.
Yeah, so heading into the second quarter, I'm looking for maybe a bit more playing time from Jackson Brown. I just want to see what he can do here.
Yeah, we didn't see Milo Johansson once, and we won't see either of them on the court to open the quarter. We're going to see the same squad that opened the game. So a little bit of a different way that Pleasant Grove's done substitutions so far today.
So Mulford's still going to defend Rasmussen with all that he has, just pressing him like crazy as he gives up to Mackay. Now down low to Riker, kicks it out to Andrew. Immediately picked up by Shepard. Now Ty Palmer has it. Picked up by Tiger Cuff. Left, right dribble. They're going to call a travel.
He picked
it up, and then he, you know, went onto his pivot foot, but he might have shuffled his back foot, and that's where they'll get you.
I think he picked up his left foot a little bit as he was trying to use that left foot as his pivot foot. Just came off the ground, but he couldn't get it back in time before the toe caught air.
So Tiger Cuff gives it Shepard now in the corner. Sorry, that was Reese. Doesn't shoot it. Here's Cuff now, defended behind. Kicks it back in the corner. Reese drives baseline. Kicks it into the paint. That's Cuff with a layup.
Just great off-ball movement by Tiger Cuff to find himself an open spot in the paint and put 2 points in for the Cavemen.
Yeah, and again with Mulford just defending Rasmussen all the way as he fouls.
Little jelly to lay it
My
in there,
goodness.
too. Shot won't count, obviously, but...
So we went to practice today, and, you know, they were shooting, I think they were just doing a game, but they were shooting half courts, and Clay Hansen, he shot a half court, and a lot of people, when they shoot half courts, they have a different shooting form. Exact same shooting form from Clay Hansen. He hit it. First try. It was awesome.
As Rasmussen now takes it, left hand, kicks it out to Anderson. Anderson drives. Working around the elbow. Back out to Rasmussen. Out to Mickelson in the corner. Mickelson drives in on Dent. Kicks it out. Peterson takes a 3, airballs it, and it goes out of bounds. I think Pleasant Grove's going to get whistled for a foul.
So catching no rim on that shot. A rare miss from Mackay Peterson, who's overall like a 40% shooter this season for Pleasant Grove.
And it was just out of bounds, so it's Pleasant Grove basketball.
So Rasmussen gonna find somebody, can't get it in.
And a 5-second violation.
That's tough. I didn't seem like they did, but you know, maybe they started counting the play before I started counting the play. So Tiger Cuff calling out the play for American Fork to run here.
As Coach McAllister tells Carson to wait a little bit before he takes the ball from the ref, so Pleasant Grove has a little bit more time to set up their inbound.
Makes sense. Emmett Red gives it to Tiger. Now inside Reese, and he's gonna dunk it. My goodness.
Now Rasmussen and the Vikings right back on.
Carson, right elbow, drives in. He's in the baseline, and
He stepped out of bounds.
steps out.
And we're gonna see Milo Johansson for the first time now. Johansson and Hadley check in.
So they're gonna bring Ty Palmer and Andrew Anderson out. So no Carson being subbed out. I thought they might after a couple of different mistakes from him. But as far as that mistake was, it wasn't huge to the point that they might have to pull him, you know. 5-second violation, that's just unfortunate. And then of course stepping out of bounds, not his fault other than the floor and his shoe, to be honest. The stopping motion, that's Tiger Cuff in the corner for 3. Off the front of the rim.
Milo Johansson with a leaping rebound to put his first stat up.
Here's Milo, gives it to Riker. Drives in, open lane, left hand, layup good.
So the mustache didn't make it so he could dunk, but cutting the lead to 5 is pretty good too.
As that's Pleasant Grove's first points so far this quarter as they just let American Fork score over and over, and they just kept messing up. Mackay out to Riker on the three-point line. Riker gives it to Carson. Carson at the free throw line. Figuring out who is open. Kicks it to Mackay. Mackay behind the back dribble.
A foul is going to be called on Rawson. That's going to go his second, and American Fork's second of this quarter. As with 5:16 remaining, Rawson and Dent check out. I think Scoville will sleep a little better tonight. We'll talk about that in a second, but
Rasmussen trying to find it again. Gives it to Johansson. You know, if Milo had let go of that, would have become an over and back violation if it had bounced too far. Here is Mackay trapped in the paint, gives it out to Carson. This American Fork defense is choking Pleasant Grove right now as they give it to Mackay back on the outside. Mackay in the paint. And they're going to call it travel as
looking for that.
He shuffles his pivot foot again.
I don't know if I saw him pick up his foot. There was an American Fork player that kind of ran in my field of vision. That might have been when it happened, but I thought he did a really good job of keeping his foot on the ground.
So a lot of the times when your foot spins too much and starts sliding around, that's when they'll call it.
Regardless, another turnover for Pleasant Grove, something that's plagued them so far here in the second quarter, but it's stayed within striking distance.
Ty Palmer is going to check in here. Tiger Cuff gives it to Shepard, who's blocked by Hansen, but now it's just given to Xander Hale, and he's just going to left-hand floater backwards. That was an impressive shot. Milo Johansson with the ball as Clay goes into the corner. Clay drives in, kicks it out, intercepted. Now here comes Shepard down the court. Euro step, layup, can't hit. Tiger Cuff gets the rebound, and now a foul as he falls over.
That one's going to go on Carson Rasmussen, his first. Pleasant Grove just making too many mistakes. They average almost 14 and a half turnovers per game. We've seen too many of those here in this second quarter. And that's something that's kind of given teams and given especially region opponents the opportunity to kind of just push the score and push the deficit a little bigger and kind of make it a little insurmountable.
In the corner now, kicks it out, Tiger Cuff now to Jared Shepard. He's going to shoot a three right in Ryan's face, misses. So another miss from American Fork as Ty Palmer gets away with it.
That's a tough ball to keep alive.
Oh my goodness, Ty Palmer with the fake pass.
Led Tiger Cuff out to the corner, and that's going to be the easiest shot that Palmer is going to take all night.
Yeah.
Although I think
he can accelerate down low. It's kind of rarer to see, but he is quite a fast player. Sort of a De'Aaron Fox type of guy. As in Clay Hansen on the outside of the three-point line. Inside the paint, gives it to Andrew. Now to Hilliard. Hilliard fakes a deep three. He's gonna drive left side. Gives it out to Clay. Now he shoots a deep three, and he's gonna, oh my goodness, just barely rim it out.
That could not have been more convincing that it went in, and a blocking foul called on Hilliard.
As he shuffled his feet, didn't get him set in time.
So we're gonna see Reese Dent check back in, as well as Justin Thorpe. Out comes Xander Hale and Jax Clark, as Hilliard has his first foul of the night. We're just over halfway through this first half, halfway through the second quarter.
So Reese Dent gives it to Mulholland, double teamed, gives it now to Shepard. Shepard on the inside to Cuff, kicks it out. It's stolen by Hilliard after the pass from Dent. Ty Palmer accelerates down the court, right hand, left, just off the rim.
He kind of didn't have an opportunity to find someone else. He kind of had to take it after he got past the free throw line. Just a tough shot to make. Maybe one he should have passed or found something else to do with. Not a lot of choices,
Mulholland
though.
doesn't use the screen put up by Thorpe. As Cuff's pass on the inside, now out to Mulholland for three. No good.
As an offensive foul is going to be called on, I guess it was a loose ball foul. But off the rebound, a foul goes against Reese Dent as he gets tagged for his first. And Tiger Cuff checks out as Emmett Red checks in. Now is kind of the time for Pleasant Grove. You talked about leading at halftime and how big that's been for both of these teams. Now's the time for Pleasant Grove. If they want to try and get to that number, this is kind of your best chance to make a run.
And here is Clay Hansen with the ball. Gives it to Andrew, rotating around the three-point line now to Ty. Ty, oh my goodness, a pass between the legs of an American Fork defender.
As Mulholland had his hands up near Hilliard's head, and that's what the whistle was for. Mulholland gets his second. And if American Fork commits one more foul this quarter, Pleasant Grove's going to go to the line.
In bonus. Ty Palmer kicks out. Andrew, quick pop three, good.
Clay Hansen set one of the most concrete wall screens in front of him that I've ever seen.
You know, Clay Hansen, kind of a hard guy to just walk right through, you know. As he tries to steal it, he does get it loose. Hilliard's got it, gives it to Andrew. Layup is good. Andrew's got hops.
And Carson Rasmussen is amped up about Anderson. That was a finger roll. That was just an absolute beauty and a beautiful pass down the floor by Hilliard.
Here's Emmett Red. Right side.
Now Pleasant Grove student section gets into it.
Pass is good to Jax Clark.
10 on the shot clock.
He picks up his dribble. It's it back to Emmett Red. Emmett right side, mid-range jumper. He buries it.
That's, in all honesty, a bad shot. Coaches are not going to be happy with that shot. It goes in, so he kind of redeems himself a little bit, but a tough mid-range jumper on the baseline is not an easy shot to make.
Hilliard at the free throw line gives it to Clay. He's going to shoot another three. Oh, just off the back of the rim. And another miss from Clay.
And a Cavemen rebound puts him right back on offense. And a wedgie, and a foul.
Wedgie with a behind-the-back foul.
I think Pleasant Grove will take their chances as Palmer gets tagged for that one. Will take their chances with Dent at the line compared to him going straight up and flushing the ball in the bucket.
Does Mackay have one or two fouls?
Pleasant Grove down 4 with just under a minute to go as Dent makes the first.
So Dent kind of been more of a presence down low than I feel like he was last game.
Yeah.
Didn't see him much, I feel like. I feel like it was just a Shepherd and Cuff show. But right now it's been, you know, still the Cuff show.
Yeah.
But it's been the Dent and Cuff show, which is huge. But Tiger Cuff, again, he's a versatile player. As Dent's second is no good. Rasmussen gives a quick bullet pass to Andrew. As Andrew almost falls down, loses it. Tiger Cuff's got it. They give it to Mulford.
I think Mulford against Skyridge, we kind of saw a guy go one-on-one against Palmer the entire game. Whenever Palmer was in, he was in. That's kind of what I feel like Mulford is in this game. Whenever Rasmussen is in, we see Mulford, and whenever Rasmussen sits, Mulford sits.
Yeah, and that's when you see more of Mulholland, who's kind of one of their only guys who's hit a three this game so far. Been a lot of inside points.
10 on the shot clock now, about a 4-second difference between the shot and play clock. Dent.
Inside, that's Jax. Here is Rasmussen, 4 seconds. Shot no good as at the buzzer, they are down 7. So 30, American Fork 36, Vikings 29 as we head into halftime.
I feel like it's been a pretty evenly matched game so far. Obviously, Pleasant Grove struggled a little bit down low, but that's what you expect when you're playing a team who has 2 guys who are 6'7" and 2 guys who are 6'8" in their rotation. And I think that for that kind of lack of height, Pleasant Grove's done a great job countering it. They've started to help a little bit too much when Dent drives. That's what we saw right towards the end of the half. Dent drove. We saw Jax Clark cut, and he was wide open down low. But we'll see how Pleasant Grove adjusts defensively. But I think offensively, Pleasant Grove is playing exactly how they want to. On pace for 58 points against one of the best defenses in the state. I think Pleasant Grove should be very proud of the way they've played and the way that the first half came out with just a little bit more work to do. But we will head to break. as Pleasant Grove Ballroom will perform, and we have been asked to not stream it. We will be back. So Sarah Newman and Zane Cutler will be doing the Jersey Mike's half-court shot. Here's Newman, and no good. So now Zane Cutler trying to redeem. Pleasant Grove hasn't hit one all season. Here's Cutler from the logo. Oh, just perfect distance just on the right side. And I think they're going to run it back. And, oh, it looked like they were going to, and they don't. And now it's time for the Viking chant, and we'll step away once again and be back for a halftime show when the teams take the court once again to shoot and warm up. So, Jack, we were talking heading into the break, and I said that I don't think Pleasant Grove has really anything to be ashamed of with the way they played in the first half. How do you think Pleasant Grove fared in the first 16 minutes of play?
I think really slowed down at the beginning of the second quarter. Kind of picked up pace a little bit. I think we got to see a few more shots from Andrew, a few more shots from Hadley, some shots from Hilliard, all outside the arc, of course. And the only person I'm really looking to see shoot on the inside of the arc is Riker Mickelson. He's really the only one who's ultra consistent from that range. I'm really looking towards seeing him this half, looking towards seeing what he can do. I'm looking for maybe some Milo Johansson playing time, and also a Ty Palmer 3, another one.
Yeah, he got about like a minute and a half in that first half, which is very rare. Him and Jackson Brown did not get a ton of playing time. It's going to be interesting to see how they use those two guys in the second half. But I feel like one guy who's been kind of quiet today, and that's in large part due to just the defensive efforts of Jared Shepard, but Andrew Anderson has been very quiet, both in makes and attempts.
He's hit a few, though. As Riker Mickelson hitting some threes during warm-ups here.
Yeah, Anderson is Pleasant Grove's leading three-point shooter on the season. 43 for 107, so that's over 40% rate from beyond the arc. As the Vikings and the Cavemen both get ready for the second half. Jack, no doubt an exciting second half of basketball coming up.
As the Pleasant Grove student section slaps their drum.
As we've talked about, or as I've talked about a lot, is Pleasant Grove very, very successful in the third quarter this season. Outscored the opposition in 10 of their last 12. However, the kind of bad sign for Pleasant Grove, American Fork 10-2 in games after leading at halftime. Those losses came to Bingham and Lehigh.
Both teams that Pleasant Grove lost to this season.
Well, neither American Fork or Pleasant Grove has beaten Lehigh this season. They're combined 0 for 3.
That's tough. Lehigh is crazy with Cooper Lewis, as they will travel here in a few weeks.
A week and a half or so.
That's Shepard for 3 as he hits his first attempt, bringing the lead all the way up to 10 for the Cavemen.
That's the largest lead of the night for either team early here in this third quarter.
Rasmussen with the ball. Right side on the end of the Vikings. Rasmussen. Carson has it. Still draining the shot clock. 15 seconds to go here. Riker on the outside of the three-point line. Gives it back to Rasmussen.
Under 10 now.
Carson inside the paint. Gives it to Riker. Fakes the three. Drives in. Now in the paint. Kicks it out. Mackay for three. Just rims out at the buzzer. And Andrew ends up with it. Gives it to Carson. He's going to shoot a three. Just barely misses it.
One of the Vikings who's taken the least number of attempts this season, Rasmussen, launches his first of the day.
Just a little bit too short to be confidently taking shots on over these defenders sometimes. Here is Shepard all the way over to Mulford as he's going to lose it out of bounds.
Yeah, just
kind
something.
of like rolled off the referee a little bit, but.
Yeah, the ref's in play. If the ball hits the ref, it keeps going. They don't stop play.
Yeah. Here's Ty Palmer.
What a jab step.
My goodness. Spin move in the paint. That's impressive. Impressive footwork by Ty Palmer.
Yeah, great jab step to get Mulford moving one way, and then great job driving the other, and little to no opposition down in the paint for him.
Inside, that's Shepard. A block attempt by Ty Palmer to no fruition. Here is Rasmussen. Gives it to Mackay. It's stolen. And that's Thorpe with the ball as Ty Palmer tried to get a jump ball called. Couldn't quite get it as Tiger Cuff's going to drive in, kicks it out. Now this is Shepard for three. No good. Gonna call a jump ball.
And it's going to
timeout.
Stay Pleasant Grove. Well, it's going to become Pleasant Grove basketball as the possession arrow points their way.
I don't know why the stadium announcer said timeout. That was interesting. So that's Rawson that was battling for that ball over Ty Palmer. Riker looks at the play that Carson wants to run, and they're going to do it. Here is Ty Palmer on the outside, gives it inside. This is Riker. Footwork, they're calling travel.
A travel or a carry?
Offensive foul. Interesting. Second for Riker this
First of
game.
the quarter for the Vikings. As we're about 2.5 minutes in, AF has not been tagged for one quite yet. As Cuff falls on the inbound.
No travel call, now it's going to go out of bounds. That's going to be Pleasant Grove ball.
Diego Mulford loses it out as he was hounded by two Vikings. It was Palmer and Anderson. And now a turnover by American Fork. Pleasant Grove still yet to capitalize really on any American Fork turnovers so far.
Rasmussen inbounds to Mackay. Caught it, thought he was going to put it in. Here's Ty Palmer, right elbow. Corner, drives in, cannot connect on the layup.
The left-handed layup, one of the toughest shots for righties, and then vice versa for lefties. But Palmer has been really good down low today, just misses that one.
Tiger Cuff. Right side, gets it into Rawson. And that's gonna be a travel for Rawson.
And now Hadley and Hilliard check in.
For Carson and Mackay. Or, sorry, Carson and Riker. So we have all three of the team captains on the floor right now. Ty Palmer gives it to Andrew. Andrew looking for what play to run. Here's Hilliard. Drives in, kicks it out to Ty. Ty, left hand, puts it up and in. With a foul called for a potential three-point play.
Yeah, Ty Palmer, I think he's 3 for 4 from inside the arc tonight. Something we don't see him take a lot of shots from in there, but he's done a great job so far. As he's gonna get his and one opportunity, something Pleasant Grove struggled immensely on last time out. Did not hit a free throw on an and one opportunity against Lone Peak.
There were plenty of those too. Lots of and ones that happened.
Palmer changes the narrative here as he sinks his. On a three-point play for Pleasant Grove.
So Shepard. Shepard to Reese. Back inside to Rawson in the corner. Drives in a little bit, kicks it to Cuff. Inside, kicks it out. Reese back in the corner now to Cuff.
13 on the shot clock.
Almost a screen by Rawson. Cuff on the inside of the paint. Puts up a bad shot. Cannot connect. And it's going to go out of bounds off of the hands of Reese.
Ty Palmer is an absolute dog defensively. He's down there against a Weber State D1 commit and just doing a great job defending Cuff. He's kind of limited him. That's something we've seen Pleasant Grove do a lot this season against really good guards, is kind of limit them. American Fork allowed 47 and 37 to Lewis in their two matchups. Pleasant Grove held him to 22 in the one that they've played so far. So a good job by Pleasant Grove's guards, and that's what this team mostly is.
My goodness, Ty Palmer with another attempt down low. With the left hand. Seems like he's been practicing there. It looks way smoother than it did at the beginning of the season. As this is Jax Clark. Kicks it out to Reese. On the logo, he's gonna drive in left side. And they're calling.
I think Rasmussen's gonna get called for a reach-in foul, or it goes against Hadley. As Reese Dent and Blake Rawson check out.
This is Jax Clark inside. Euro step, cannot connect. Now Shepard, or sorry, Xander Hale with the second attempt shot. Rasmussen kicks it to Ty. Ty at the top of the court, top of the key. Gives it to Ryan. Ryan inside the paint. Got to kick it out. That's Palmer for three off the front of the rim. And another miss from Pleasant Grove as the score still remains down 9 for Pleasant Grove, 34 to 43.
3:15 left in the third quarter. Just very quiet offensively for both of these teams in this period.
3:18 left. This is Shepard. Stripped away by Hadley, but Shepard recovers it. Now Thorpe. Thorpe to Cuff. In the corner, kicks it inside. That's Jax Clark. He goes up for a dunk, and Clay Hansen immediately stops him with a blocking foul.
Clay Hansen, a big body for Pleasant Grove. Kind of stops, was it Jax Clark right in his tracks? But it's going to send him to the line for two. They're looking to push the lead to double digits for the second time this game. And Andrew Anderson going to check in now.
Jax Clark, first one's going to be no good.
Anderson comes out, Palmer checks in. 3 minutes and even left in this third period. We're going to see Jax Euler check in.
Second one no good. Clay Hansen ends up tapping it. It's going to end up American Fork's ball, as it was a lot of players slapping it around. Not sure who it could have been.
So Jax Euler checks in for Jax Clark. And he has the ball now.
Cuff, open, travel call, as he leans into a step before he dribbles. That's what Coach McAllister told the ref, and Coach Cuff not agreeing with that call.
And now he's going to have a discussion with the ref. As we talked about earlier, Cuff, in his coaching his first game back after a 3-game suspension. He missed the game against Westlake and then the 2 Lehigh schools, Skyridge and Lehigh. American Fork went 2-1 in that span. Now he's back.
Ethan Hilliard, speed move inside. Layup is no good after a tough defensive effort by American Fork, and stolen by Clay. Behind the back dribble. Clay, baseline, kicks it out. It's stolen by American Fork.
And now a timeout called. That's the first timeout called in this ball game, and it goes against American Fork, or I guess it's called by American Fork.
Coach Cuff is not happy, yelling at his guys, yelling at his own son.
Yeah, I don't know if he's unhappy about the call or if he's unhappy about what Tiger did, but Cuff gets called for that one. Or he got called for the travel, and then the other Cuff, Ryan Cuff, not happy. And now I believe it's a full timeout because both their teams got their guys sitting. So Pleasant Grove down 9. it's kind of been an even third quarter. Neither team's really gotten a leg up on the other, kind of just exactly what American Fork did in the first game, really, just keeping Pleasant Grove at arm's length.
Yeah.
As now is a great time to talk about the title sponsor of Pleasant Grove Sports Network, Chubby's Neighborhood Cafe, located on State Street, just right off State Street, really.
Main Street.
Yeah. Chubby's Neighborhood Cafe, great food. Really anything you want, chicken tenders, wings, fish, burgers, mac and cheese. The mac and cheese is really good.
Mac and cheese is way good. Salad, also great. So all their things are exceptional there. Philly cheesesteak even good.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong at Chubby's Neighborhood Cafe. Go check them out with many locations across Utah Valley. So Cuff has played the majority of the game for the Cavemen, but otherwise there hasn't really been anyone else on the court who's been with him the entire time. A little bit of Jared Shepard, who's inbounding now.
Shepard gives it to Cuff. Back to Shepard. Ryan staying on him the whole court. Shepard trying to lose Hadley. And this is inside. Now about to Cuff. Cuff backs out at 3. Gives it to Thorpe. Now this is Jax Euler. Jax Euler with the ball. Off the screen, now Cuff gonna shoot it. Desperation shot, it's gonna go to Rasmussen, he almost loses it. Gets away with it.
That was a necessity due to the shot clock. There was 2 left.
Clay on the outside gives it to Hadley. Hadley out to Hilliard for 3. He finally hits one. And Pleasant Grove putting themselves 3 points closer to overcoming American Fork.
That's good to see. I think Pleasant Grove had been very quiet in this quarter from beyond the arc. Again, both in attempts and in makes as Hansen picks one off.
Hansen gives it to Carson. Carson drives around, gives it to Hadley, and that's going to be another layup.
Carson happy about the pass he found on that one, and the deficit's cut to 4. As Cuff gets Hadley off his tail.
Thorpe. Now this is Cuff down low, gives it to Hale. And that's going to be a quick and easy bucket.
Just another example of American Fork excelling at off-ball movement.
Hansen with the ball. Drives in, gives it to Hadley. In the paint, spin move, good.
Hadley answers American Fork's call, and we stay at a 4-point difference.
And 4 guys checking in for Pleasant Grove. Hale down low. Gives it to Euler, and it's stolen, but then a reach-in foul by Jax Euler.
As Pleasant Grove's gone on a big run here late in this third quarter. And they have the chance to just continue pushing their foot on the gas as Rasmussen and Hansen and Hilliard check out.
So Milo Johansson getting some more playing time here. 26 seconds ago, though.
I'm interested to see after the game why Pleasant Grove's kind of just drastically changed the way they run their rotations.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's just because of this matchup specifically, or if this might be a new way that they might be running things. Maybe because earlier in the season, some players, sorry, I'm gonna commentate this before I say this.
Hadley.
Inside Hadley, got blocked my view. Ty Pomeranz up with it. Ty launches it up, no good.
And Pleasant Grove enters the fourth quarter with a 2-point deficit, and just like Friday night, we have got an amazing basketball game on our hands.
So as I was saying before I realized that I shouldn't be commentating, not telling a story. Pleasant Grove, some of their players might be thinking, and me especially as well, thinking that sometimes with this rotation, with subbing guys out so quickly, that sometimes it just ruins the momentum of a player. So let's say just for example that Ty Palmer like hits a mid-range jumper, hits a 3, and then lays it in, all within quick succession, and then he does a quick, awesome outlet pass, he does a skip pass maybe. He's doing great on the court. So the next 5 guys come in, he ultimately gets subbed out while he's hot, and he then comes back into the game, he's cooled down, he doesn't have the hot hand anymore. And let's say maybe even during that time that Ty Palmer is out, Clay Hansen hits, 2 threes.
Yeah.
He's heating up, and then he gets pulled out of the game.
Yeah, I think the 2 guys that are always going to be on the court together, or almost always, are Rasmussen and Mickelson. But other than that, I think Pleasant Grove's got a great roster that can be changed from guy to guy. And I was thinking it could be, like we talked about, it could be matchup and situational, but Jackson Brown's 6'4". He's one of the taller, if not the tallest. He's listed as tied for the tallest guy on this Pleasant Grove team besides Finn Spilsbury, Big V. But, like, the matchups, it doesn't make sense to not have Jackson Brown if you're looking for size, but it's fared pretty well as it's just a 2-point ball game.
Blake Rawson on the outside. Mulford back to Blake. Now he's Reese. Shepard inside to Cuff, pass over Tuckin. And that's going to go out of bounds. Pleasant Grove has the opportunity to tie it.
And one big thing is this is one of the few times we've seen Mulford on the court when Rasmussen isn't sharing it with him. As you mentioned, Pleasant Grove's going to pick up the pace as they have a chance to tie.
Hadley, spin move in the paint. Kicks it out to Mackay. Mackay drives in, open lane. Layup is good after an attempted block by Cuff.
We're all knotted up at 45. I think it was Reese Dent who went up for the block.
Sorry, I got that wrong. But one thing that's awesome about courtside, you can hear everybody. One thing that's not great, our field of view gets obstructed. Sometimes. Mulford takes a way deep 3. Cannot connect. Reich has it, gives it to Milo. Milo drives in, gives it to Mackay. Corner 3, good! Mackay Peterson makes up for the shot against the Lone Peak.
And Pleasant Grove's players, fans, students, everybody is hyped up in this gym. It's going to be interesting to see if Cuff will like to use a timeout, depending on how this offensive possession goes, to kind of calm his team down a little bit.
Rawson inside the paint. You can't stop Rawson.
He's been so good down low.
Here's Milo for 3. Oh my goodness, almost goes in. It's Hadley has it. PG
wanted a timeout, and instead it's going to be
it's going to be jump ball.
They are going to keep possession, but the entire Pleasant Grove coaching staff had their hands in a timeout motion. They do keep the ball, but sacrifice the possession arrow. And now Rasmussen and Anderson are going to check in. Hadley and Johansson check out. So Johansson hits a big 3 and then heads out. Or excuse me, it was Peterson who hit the 3.
Peterson hit the 3. Johansson just rimmed around. I feel like he's been a little bit on a cold streak. Maybe not, just like hasn't seen as much production from him.
And a block. Peterson draws the foul. Rawson wanted a charge, but Peterson's going to go to the line for 2.
So there hasn't been a single charge this game. Not for the Vikings, not for the Cavemen. There's been a few attempts, but they call the blocking foul every single time.
Rawson draws his 3rd foul of the ball game. Mackay Peterson shooting 19 for 28 from the line so far this season. And gets his 20th make from the line so far. As we talked about earlier, Pleasant Grove not a team that shoots a lot from the line. They went 5 for 13 last time out, and that was their highest volume.
Peterson's second just rims around, goes out. Gonna call it American Fork ball.
Yeah, usually if the refs don't know, and I'm not sure they had a clue. I'm not sure anyone had a clue who that one went off of. They'll give it to the team who didn't just have the ball. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I personally couldn't tell that it was off a certain guy's hand.
No reffing. Jax Clark coming in. Mulford with the ball, gives it to Cuff. Cuff thought he was fouled by Rasmussen. Rasmussen picking him up. Gives it to Clark. Clark drives in, kicks it out to Shepard. Shepard inside. Oh my goodness, the putback by Rawson.
But something you won't see from
inside Peterson, out to Andrew. Andrew gives it to Ty. Ty, step back. Oh my goodness, here's Riker inside the paint. Riker can't get it up. He does, he goes!
Pleasant Grove pushes the lead back to 2. And American Fork slowing down, probably wanting a break.
5:30 to go here in the fourth quarter.
Both teams pockets full of timeouts. AF's used one. Pleasant Grove hasn't used one as Jax Clark lays that one up and in to tie it up.
Clark is versatile down low. Here is Andrew, almost loses it, gets it back, gives it to Rasmussen. Carson calls the play off the screen of Mackay, gives it to Ty. Ty Palmer, he's fouled.
That one goes against.
Layup, he rolls it in. Impressive, I admit.
That one goes against Mulford, his third in relatively limited action. As we see Hilliard and Hadley check in, they've kind of been a duo that checks in a lot together. As Anderson and Peterson check out. American Fork has 2 fouls this quarter. Pleasant Grove yet to have one called on them. Rawson checked out and Mulford checked out as well. Both players that have 3 fouls.
Carson with the ball. Kicks it to Hilliard. Top of the key 3. Oh, just rims around. Cannot fall. All tied up here at 51, 4:45.
I think one thing that Pleasant Grove has changed here in this second half, we talked about defensive adjustments at halftime. They're pressuring these guards early and often. As a foul
Pushing
goes.
foul.
Riker Mickelson gets called for it, as that's his third.
Mulholland comes in for Emmett Red.
I think this is pretty close to, I think this is pretty close to the team that American Fork wants to see close this game out. You might want to see a little bit of Blake Rawson mixed in here as well, but these are kind of the 5 best guys that we've seen today on this American Fork roster.
Clark down low, kicks it up to Shepard. Mulholland on the inside to Cuff. Cuff out to Clark. Clark in the paint, now down low.
Hadley's going to get whistled for a foul going up. It's going to send Xander Hale to the line for 2. I believe it's Hadley's second. As the scoreboard on your screen says it's the third quarter, it's the fourth quarter. And you can kind of feel with the atmosphere in here that it is the fourth quarter, as Hale is going to take 2 free throws.
First is no good.
So we have just an absolute treat these last 2 games to be able to, watch them against Lone Peak and now against American Fork. Here's Hale's second is good.
Carson with the ball, gives it to Riker. Riker with the ball, almost loses it, drives in. Clark on top of him, they don't call a foul. Some PG parents are not happy about this call.
I don't want to say some. I think most of the Pleasant Grove section behind us was very upset with that. But now you've just got to make a stand defensively and kind of have a ball don't lie moment, if you will, and just prove that, you're still the better team. As Hale, another tip-in.
Another tip-in, jeez. And that's going to be Coach Cuff calling a quick timeout.
That's kind of the second time we've seen just 3 players go up for a rebound, and a good redirect by the Cavemen puts it in the bucket and counts 2 points no matter how many guys have to tip it in.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy as American Fork takes a 4-point lead, or 3-point lead here against Pleasant Grove. 3:42 to go.
Yeah, Pleasant Grove, I think I know they absolutely hate calling timeouts, but I think it's a convenient timeout that American Fork calls, because now in the huddle, McAllister can say, you did a great job of this last time out against Lone Peak, but slow down, take a deep breath, make sure you're playing quick with your body and you're sprinting up and down the court, but make sure you're playing slow in the head and you're making smart decisions and rational passes. And because Pleasant Grove, they've struggled with turning the ball over late in this fourth quarter, and they cannot have themselves fall victim to fourth quarter turnovers once again. As we've kind of seen them turn away from the three-pointer here in the second half. 1 for 4 from beyond the arc in the third quarter, which is just a very low number of attempts for this Pleasant Grove team. And then American Fork's doing a great job limiting the opportunities, but Pleasant Grove's had some success at the basket tonight. As Pleasant Grove student section still full, American Forks hasn't been added to or subtracted to. They've got about 4 rows. As man, we've got a great game.
Hadley, right elbow, at the free throw line, gives it to Hilliard. Hilliard thought about a 3, he's in the paint, gives it up to Hadley. Hadley almost loses it. Gives it to Carson. Carson looking for the play, 17 seconds on the shot clock. Spin move in the paint, gets out to Hilliard, quick 3. He just cannot hit it. Catch, caught rim. I don't know what American Fork's saying. Usually it would say air ball, but they are not doing it.
And it wasn't an air ball either, as
inside, out to Cuff. Now this is Emmett Red. Gives it to Shepard. They got 15 seconds. Shepard. Now to Cuff. Cuff in the paint. Turnaround jumper. Rolls it in.
that's a tough shot to defend, but an equally tough shot to make. But put in the bucket, and Rasmussen's going to get fouled as he's driving to the rim.
No continuation, I don't think. No shooting foul.
Goes against Shepard, I believe. It is Shepard, his first. American Forks third of this quarter. As Hilliard checks out. As now we see Jax Clark check out and Justin Thorpe check in. We've got a 5-point ball game. Pleasant Grove has the basketball.
So we basically have a starting lineup in except for Emmett Red. Ty Palmer gives it to Andrew. Quick 3, just off the side of the rim. Cannot connect. Tiger Cuff, they got 2:25 to defend their lead, to get out here with a win.
This kind of feels like a little bit of a must-stop possession.
Thorpe with the ball, gives it to Shepard. Shepard drives, shot, no good. Caught by Riker.
There's
Riker
your stop.
Goes down the court. Here's Ty. Ty Palmer on the outside of 3, trying to juke. He gets it stolen. Cuff calls a timeout. No questions asked.
That's just a great defensive job by Tiger Cuff. Pokes the ball out, hops on it, isn't going to try to do any funny business and find a man or have the chance of it being stolen. Just takes it, calls a timeout. American Fork has plenty with 1:57 left in this game, and they're going to have the basketball. So once again,
this is a must-stop, must-win game for Pleasant Grove. Being down 5. It's tough. 2 possessions in any way.
Yeah, if you're Pleasant Grove, you've had too many games this season, and that includes the first game against American Fork, first game against Lone Peak, your last game out against Lone Peak. Of the games where you go into the locker room and you say, yeah, we lost, but we held this team like we were within 4 the entire game. You've had too many of those games. You need to put another game on your resume to put up there with Davis where you say, yeah, not only did we stay with them the entire game, we beat them.
Yeah, they pulled it out in the end. So,
and Pleasant Grove,
here, they still haven't climbed over their last year's record at 11 wins.
Yeah, Pleasant Grove, you feel and you know that you're by no means out of this game, but you kind of feel like, especially with American Fork on the ball, as you mentioned, this is a must-stop possession. And definitely no three-pointers allowed.
Here's Thorpe. Thorpe, now this is Xander. Kicks it inside to Cuff. It's going to be Pleasant Grove ball.
I think Hale thought Cuff was going to continue cutting towards the basket, and Cuff kind of sat down on the side of the key. And that's what resulted in that shot being thrown out. And now we see Rawson check back in for the first time after picking up his 3rd foul.
So Rasmussen checks in for Hadley. .141 for the Vikings.
100 seconds left.
Gives it to Andrew. Back out to Ty. He almost loses it. Ty Palmer, left-right dribble. Gives it to Riker. Riker now to Ty. Kind of call timeout for Pleasant Grove.
And you saw Riker, he looked open in that mid-range, but that's just a shot that Pleasant Grove doesn't take. They don't take mid-range jumpers unless the shot clock is at 2 or 1. And so that's kind of what I think prompted the hesitation from Riker. Maybe he should have pulled the trigger and put 2 points in the bucket if he's confident, but just a little bit of hesitation and then a smart move by Riker to not hesitate and then put it up. Once he hesitates, he knows to tuck it and try and find a new man to kick it out to. As Pleasant Grove's going to keep the basketball, their first timeout called in this game. Just a short 30-second timeout. American Fork sends out Red, Cuff, Rawson, Clark, and Shepard. Pleasant Grove sends out Rasmussen, Palmer, Peterson, Mickelson, and Anderson. So a lot of Suns.
Sens and Suns. Rasmussen. Inbound pass to Ty. In the baseline, kicks it all the way to Andrew, and it's tipped out by American Fork.
And one thing Coach McAllister told me after that Lone Peak game, is when you see guys throw those passes off of 1 foot, no matter where it goes, that's a bad pass. That's not something that Pleasant Grove wants to see, or those off 1 foot passes.
As Ty Palmer drives in, his layup cannot drop, and that was a must-hit bucket for Pleasant Grove, and they don't hit it. And now this game is getting into desperation mode. They could start going into foul now.
I don't think you're quite in desperation mode, but if there's a bucket here, as Anderson fouls.
Don't think so. It's 1 minute left.
I think if you can get a stop, go get a bucket, and it's still a one-possession game, though.
With 30 seconds left, you know.
I think Pleasant Grove's confident of them.
That's less than a shot clock.
I think they're confident in themselves if that happens. And I think they should be. And now American Fork with the inbound. This is a big one. As we've talked about the last couple times, cannot allow points.
Off-ball foul. Tiger Cuff.
And that's Pleasant Grove's 4th of the quarter, the 2nd on Rasmussen. And they're basically just going to take it from the same spot. Pleasant Grove, no more fouls to give.
Inbound. Gets it to Cuff. 59 seconds to play. And they're going to foul Cuff. Not the guy to foul.
I'm not sure if that was intentional. I think that might have just been Rasmussen playing aggressive defense. I think that's how we usually see him play. Sometimes he gets called for it, sometimes he doesn't, and that time the whistle was blown. But just as you said, this is not the guy you want to foul if you're Pleasant Grove.
Cuff's first. It's good. Not going to see Tiger Cuff miss it from the free throw.
I still don't think you're in desperation mode if you're Pleasant Grove, but you're definitely in three-point mode.
Second shot from Cuff is good, no matter how loud the cheers are. They have to hit a 3 here to stay in the game. Riker gonna drive in anyway. He gets it and one!
He might not hit the three-pointer, but he's looking for the three-point play. Still got the free throw to make, but on a good track so far. As 5-point deficit for Pleasant Grove with Mickelson at the line trying to cut it to 4.
Mickelson's shot is good. So he's gonna connect, bring it to a 3-point game. Inbound for American Fork. They get it inside to Emmett Red. It's almost stolen by Carson. And
he's trying to say that he did not put a hand on Tiger Cuff. He just fell over. I think he caught a little bit of the leg, but I'm not sure it was enough to draw the foul. Cuff gets it and goes back to the line.
And Cuff slams his head against the court.
He's taken a couple tough falls, both in the first game and the second game, as McAllister is going to use one of his 4 remaining timeouts.
It's a lot of timeouts to have. 46 seconds to go in the 4th.
I think this is something that Pleasant Grove did to the Knights last time, is they kind of, I mean, in football it's like icing the kicker, but I guess the same philosophy here in basketball. Make the player who's going to take the shots get in his head just a little bit. Try and get him to get in his head. We've talked about how good Cuff is from the line, as he's got 2 big ones coming up. Pleasant Grove, it will be a 2-possession game regardless of how many Cuff makes or misses. Just depends on how successful Pleasant Grove's possessions have to be.
So Andrew checks in. One of our best three-point shooters.
.46 ticks remaining.
Exactly. No half seconds on here.
So Tiger Cuff is going to go to the line for two of, if not the biggest shots of this ball game. Trying to push it to 6 and force Pleasant Grove to have to take threes. Last time Mickelson got the luxury of being able to take it to the rack and get 3 points that way, but probably won't be as lucky if Pleasant Grove tries the same thing. Pleasant Grove student section is going to look to be a big factor in these shots.
As they let the dogs out. First shot's good from Cuff.
We talked about a lot today about just how good he is from the line. And now the Cavemen put in Xander Hale. I thought he was in to rebound, but instead he goes to the other side of the court with Blake Rawson. Interesting decision from Cuff. Two big guys for a team that shoots a lot of threes. And Cuff sinks both.
So Rasmussen gonna bring it down the court quick for the Vikings. Ty Palmer with the ball. Anderson kicks it out. Riker for 3. He buries it!
He has been so good for Pleasant Grove from beyond the arc, and a little fist pump from Riker Mickelson. He knows how big of a shot that just was.
Pleasant Grove gives American Fork less than a shot clock to play as Makai Peterson checks in. So does Jackson Clark, or Jax Clark, sorry. Ethan Hilliard now checks in.
So we talked about Riker Mickelson and how he's been pretty good from beyond the arc. He's been really good from beyond the arc in the last 2 or 3 games. But he's shooting only 10 for 35 from beyond the arc this season. That's under a 30% shooting percentage. But he has hit some big ones, some big shots for Pleasant Grove in these last 2 games, as there's exactly 34 seconds put on the clock. So obviously American Fork's going to do everything in their power to get the ball into Cuff here. But if they get it into someone else, think Rawson or Hale, do you foul right away and send them to the line, or do you have them run their play? Because there's no shot clock.
Run a play. Let them run their play for at least a little bit before you go into foul mode. But they would have to foul someone who's inconsistent from the line.
Hale is not on the court. Rawson is. And American Fork's running like a football play.
Shepard is immediately fouled. So, yeah, they don't let it happen at all.
It's not Cuff, but it's about as close as you can get to Cuff on this American Fork team.
They all link arms like they're taking a photo.
As that foul goes against Ryan Hadley.
Ty Palmer's shorts have blood on them.
Well, Shepard misses the first.
Goodness.
Hadley with his 3rd foul, and now we see Ty Palmer and Andrew Anderson check in. Those are some dead-eye shooters for Pleasant Grove. As Peterson and Hadley check out.
Anderson's going to be on the Pro Look logo as Cuff goes down to defend him.
Nobody in to get a rebound for American Fork. Shepard doesn't need one.
Here's Carson. Gives it to Andrew, back to Carson. Picks up his dribble, kicks it out to Hilliard. Drives in, he's fouled.
And that's going to send Hilliard to the line, as that's Rawson's 4th foul. That's big if we go into an extra period. Oh, no, that's his 5th. Rawson's done. So that puts Xander Hale in the game as Blake Rawson's night is over. The 6'7" senior has played his last minute on this Valhalla floor. I'm not sure he cares very much, but he probably cares a little more about the cave back at home.
Hadley and Peterson are checking in as
Hilliard.
Hilliard hits his first.
As we talked about, very, very little free throws shot by this Pleasant Grove team. That shot put Hilliard to 7 for 12 on the season. This will be his 13th attempt.
Second shot by Hilliard is good.
So after the 1 for 2 from the line by the Cavemen, Pleasant Grove gains a point. They're not going to foul Cuff, and now they have to.
Cuff's just going to stand there and take it.
I mean, Hilliard did not want to foul Cuff. Again, that's the last guy you want to foul if you're Pleasant Grove, but you have to, because if you don't, he's just going to run the clock out.
Could have done an off-ball foul.
Yeah. That's kind of in the unwritten rule book that you don't do. You don't purposely off-ball foul.
I'm not sure if that is an unwritten rule,
But here's Cuff looking to push it to a 2-possession game if he can make both of them. His first is good.
again, he is not going to miss as they put their free throw shooters in.
I think he might be able to hit free throws in his sleep. As perfect from the line so far is Tiger Cuff. Looking to push the lead to 4 with 20.7 seconds left to go. Cuff second is good.
It's good, jeez.
Now the other Cuff calls a timeout.
30-second timeout.
American Fork has 1 timeout remaining. Pleasant Grove with 2.
So now's a good time, after all this excitement, to tell you about our mainstream sponsor, Chubby's Cafe. All-American food for all-American families, located on Pleasant Grove Main Street, right across from the Zions Bank. Right next to Ace Hardware, in the same parking lot as Firebird Pizza and Pasta.
Yeah, great food, and they do amazing work fueling us before every game. One of the highlights of game day is getting to show up and have some, my personal favorite is a 5-piece tender, but a lot of different options to choose from at Chubby's Neighborhood Cafe.
5-piece tender, crispy chicken salad. Their mac and cheese is great. Their beer batter fries are awesome. And I love their apple beer, but that's not really them. That's just a brand.
So Hale will stay on the court for the fouled out Rawson. We also see red, Cuff, Clark, and Shepard. As 20.7 seconds left to go, Pleasant Grove down 4. Mickelson's going to inbound.
Gets it to Carson. He's going to accelerate down the court. 19 seconds for Carson. Gives it to Andrew. Andrew to Riker. Drives in, open lane, hits it.
And now a timeout called by technically Coach Scoville, but just Pleasant Grove in general. 10.5 remaining. Same story it's been. Got to try and force a turnover on the inbound and then foul, and by no means can it be Tiger Cuff who you send to the line. I mean, at some point you got to think at some point he's going to miss, as it's going to be a full timeout. So a 1-minute timeout for Pleasant Grove. But again, you got to think like, oh, he's going to miss at some point, right? He probably doesn't. As
Ryan and Mackay check in here. This is a similar ending to the Lone Peak game, as they sent Kramer to the line over and over again.
Hopefully it's not that similar.
Well,
for my sake.
Yeah. For everyone in Pleasant Grove and all you guys tuning in today.
And we'd like to thank you for tuning in to Pleasant Grove Sports Network. We're always happy to have you guys along and encourage you to join us again on Friday night at 7:30 p.m. as Pleasant Grove travels to Westlake to take on the Thunder for the second time.
Speaking of Thunder, the Jazz just beat the #1 seed in the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
124 to 117. We don't quite have that many points scored in this one, but this is a high-scoring game comparatively for these two teams.
Well, they play a few less minutes than in the NBA does.
So Pleasant Grove's going to send out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's Hilliard, Rasmussen, Peterson, Mickelson, and Hadley. And American Fork keeps the same 5 guys out there. Very confident in these 5.
Cuff, Jax, Shepard, Emmett, and Hale in.
They're going to run a play on the baseline once again. Cuff has the ball to inbound. I can't imagine that he's the one who does it, and he doesn't. And Hilliard's going to have to foul Cuff on the far corner. He's limping coming off. Now he jogs down the court.
I'm not sure what happened, but 2 players fell over.
It was Hadley, and I believe it was Jax Clark, as Pleasant Grove needs one of these to be missed.
Cannot express. The first would be optimal.
And the student section's very quiet, as Cuff's first is good. Just
He
so
is
consistent.
The most consistent free throw shooter I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Just cannot miss.
He might be, I haven't been counting, but he might be 10 for 10 tonight. American Fork has done a great job getting him the ball in these moments where Pleasant Grove has to foul and sending him to the line. And as we've seen, for good reason, too. His second is good.
He hits his second. Rasmussen with 9 seconds to go, gives it to Hilliard. Pulls up from 3, cannot hit. And
Rasmussen
ends up with it. They're going to call a foul.
From the angle I had, there was no part of the body that Rasmussen got. It looked like he just went in, scooped out the ball, and came out with it. I think there was just too much commotion going on. The refs blew a whistle, and it went against Mickelson, it looks like. So it wasn't Rasmussen that they called it on, so his pickpocket was clean. But here is Jared Shepard at the line. His first is good. So 2.5 remaining. Now it feels like all hope is lost, as it's now a 6-point deficit for Pleasant Grove. Rasmussen's going to dribble it to half court, take the shot, and it's no good. So that does it. Pleasant Grove falls 67-61, and yet another example of so close yet so far for this Pleasant Grove team. But they just continue to get closer and closer every game that they play. Westlake, in the first time through in region opponents, Westlake was kind of the game where we walked out and we said, this is what Pleasant Grove can be. They're going to look to do that again on Friday at 7:30. Jack, what did you see tonight?
I saw a team that desperately needed a win, and they could not pull it out against one of the toughest opponents in their region. And seeing this team in such a heartbreaking loss, 2 back-to-back heartbreaking losses against the 2 teams that I would argue are their biggest rivals. One a classic rivalry, and one a rivalry over the past 10 years as they robbed championships from us over and over again.
I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. Pleasant Grove falls 6-2, their biggest rival. What a game today, and to try and be the optimist in this situation, Pleasant Grove looked really good.
Yeah, they played great. They just could not put it together in the end. Couldn't hit their threes in the end. Settled for a lot of 2-point plays, which, you know, if you hit them, it's great. But to be honest, with the foul game and not hitting threes, and they're hitting both when you foul Tiger Cuff, it's just staying at the same score. And that's nothing. It's not something you want. So Pleasant Grove, tough loss tonight as they go to Westlake on Friday. The weakest team in Region 3. It's unfortunate, but Pleasant Grove is right there with them. They're struggling against their region opponents, and Pleasant Grove hoping that they can break a 5-game losing streak, 6-game losing streak now.
I think it's 5.
5 against their region opponents. Their last win was against Westlake here in Valhalla by 18 points. So we'll head there on Friday to see if they can catch a win and finally boost their spirits a little bit and break their record from last year of 11 wins. So
nowhere close to time to give up on this Pleasant Grove team. I think personally, every time I come out and watch them, they just get a little better and a little better and a little better. But we talked about, it feels like it's time that you have to go out and win one of these games. I think 2-1 or better in their next 3 games is essential.
Yeah, that will really determine where their playoff spot is, who they play, and they head to 11-6. Hopefully they can get to 12 or 11-9. Sorry. Hopefully they can get to 12-9, and then maybe 13-9, and then hopefully catch a win against Skyridge or Lehigh after Westlake.
Yeah, Pleasant Grove still looking really good against a really, really talented American Fork team. This American Fork team has the potential to go all the way this year, and Pleasant Grove, though, not doing themselves any favors with who they'll have to face in the first round. That's all for me. Jack, you got anything else to say?
Just say Pleasant Grove's going to go and try to catch a win, and they're I mean, they had the lead at one point in this game. They are a very capable team. So we'll catch you next time on Friday at 7:30 at Westlake. So for the last time tonight, this is Jack Barnard.
I'm Alan Judson.
And this is PGSN signing off.
Have a great night.